Hello Ratbags, it's Jade. Welcome to a special grounded video. With the big first update hitting on the 26th of August, I thought we should take a look properly at all the water content and give you guys some tips on what to expect. I've run through this before, but I was kind of just doing it as a let's play. Today I want to be a bit more focused, talk about what types of weapons and armor pieces you're going to craft, what you should go for first, and taking a look at the insects. Now remember, this is all done in the AR world that I've used via a modding app. So lots of this is subject to change, and we're not even 100% sure that the water update is what's going to be the main bulk of the content. So I guess I could have maybe waited, and I am going to obviously be doing it when the update drops, showcasing all the brand new stuff, but I did want to give you a heads up so you can prepare just in case it did launch. If it doesn't, there you go, you still got some info about what's going to be coming. I really hope the water update is here, but I've got a sneaky feeling, just a little like 10% chance that actually this update won't include the water content. But hey, who knows? We'll see who's right when it launches on the 26th. No time's given yet, but I would expect it in the evening time UK, in the morning in America. We do know for sure that there's going to be the brand new Oreo style cookies added to the game. It looks like there's new fence posts and there's some changes to the landscape where we see a giant massive foot, and it looks like you can hold some of the dandelion tufts or stack them a little bit better now too. That was confirmed in a little teaser video that the devs put out recently. So make sure you're liking and subscribed for the best and original grounded content. Let's go. We've got some brand new quests at Burgle, so this will give you the opportunity to go and find some new chips that hopefully give you some more recipes, more crafting items. If we take a look and read it, it says in a hill to the west is where you'll start this quest. Straight through a rooted room gets you closer to the tomb. Past a tunnel of red rests a soul that is dead. Down the hole lies your goal. So it does look like this quest mentioned is actually one of the chips that's already in the game, and that's the one in the anthill. No, it's not the one where you find the skeleton of a dog. This quest relates to this particular hill. It just seems they've renamed this chip you find next to the rotten bee armor the grave robbery chip rather than the ants chip. Obviously we're going through the corridors or the caves with the roots going through the ceiling, so that's the first part of the riddle. Again, it's lots of roots, and this is actually the red that they're talking about. It's the red bushes. And if we go through this little section here with all the red, we come to another chamber with some more of the rotten bee armor, and then we've got the hole. So this quest pretty much is giving us all the rotten bee armor. I'm sure you've done this already. There's not as much content in Grounded right now, so you've probably combed through all of this already. But it might be worth doing again as and when the quest pops up, and you may get some more stuff from it. And obviously I'm just picking up some eggs. Here's the hole. Drop down here. You can see here is some more bones. And that's pretty much almost like the majority of them there. And there's the chip. I do hope they've added more locations so we can do more quests and get hold of more of these chips. There's obviously lots of items that you can cheat in using the mods and stuff, and we've seen what else there is available. And I know for sure there's another 4 chips. There's going to be one available in the weed killer area. There's meant to be obviously one in the oak tree that we got from Burgle, but there may be another one in the oak tree actually in and around that area. And it's looking like there's going to be another one in the grasslands or the hedge. So that's just one change that you might need to make sure you're doing when the update drops. If you've been wondering about the quest, don't go over to the grave or the cave with the big dog skeleton in it. Instead, just go to the anthill and see if another chip has spawned. It's a small thing, but I want you guys to be really prepared. Another thing that you're going to need to consider is that where you normally find either the hot dogs or the apple cores, this is actually where you're going to find the brand new cookie too. If you don't know, they spawn here randomly. Sometimes it is a hot dog, sometimes it will be the apple, and now in future it's going to be the Oreo biscuit cookie ripoff. Yes, I said biscuit. It's a biscuit, damn it. So that's another big change. We're going to have something else to eat. Here's the cookie sandwich bits. It's just simply edible at the moment. So hopefully it gives us a little buff or a bonus. And it does look like some of the food had mold on it, so that's a change too. And this is pretty much the same location that was in the dev video, I'm sure. It also looks like we are going to indeed have bees added to the game. That's what everyone's surmising from the AR test world that I'm in right now, that bees are coming. Now the one thing that makes me think the bees may not be in the update, and again this is all we don't know, is that the actual AI for them wasn't working. They weren't spawning or appearing in the AR test world. I had to spawn them in myself to actually see what they would look like. So yeah, for sure, it's a real toss-up whether or not this is going to make this update or whether or not it's going to be the water or neither. But obviously if they are added, we'll be able to make all of the B armor suits that have got much better stats than the rotten version. We'll also be able to make the Stinger 2 tier spear, I do believe, with the B Stinger. And the main point of the B armor is that it gives you really massively reduced fall damage. Much better than any of the other armor sets. And obviously if there's honey as well added as alongside it, maybe they secrete it or maybe you get when you kill them, we're not sure. But the honey also helps you heal. And we can also make honey traps. So I've done all these videos before, go and check out some of them. I'll leave the links in the comment section showing a bit more detail about some of the future items coming into the game. But the devs have said there is one brand new creature that no one has taken a look at. So is it going to be something that's in the files already, like a cricket or a mosquito? We know they are in the game as a whole bunch of resources from the mosquito that you collect. Could it just be the firefly? And the cricket, that's how we know there's going to be crickets in the game, as there's raw cricket meat. Again, this is already a stuffed creature that's in the game files and that we can spawn in the test world. Could that be the proper creature that's going to be added in? I don't know, maybe it'll be something completely fresh and new. Now, we're here at the waterside. We obviously know this is all coming. So if you happen to have built your base on the water, and some of you guys have been telling me you have done, you may want to consider moving your base or all your items. Chances are your base will be destroyed if it's been put anywhere close to these areas. The other thing as well is there could be a possibility of a wipe. It does happen in early access games, and it was happening quite a lot with people's game saves during the first few weeks with problems and bugs and issues. So it could happen again. What about getting into the water? What do we need to prepare? What's going to actually help us? Now, if we take a look at some of the armor and the weapons, it's clear that this gear, these items, are going to be pretty hard to get hold of. The koi armor needs fish scales, so you're not going to be getting this on day one, especially as you need cattail fluff, eelgrass strands, lily pad wax, and bone. Let's not get too far ahead. Let's take a look at what you could do to prepare in terms of possibly setting up an outpost. Unfortunately, if you was hoping to build some sort of rampway into the water to make it easier to get in and out of, it seems like the water doesn't allow you to build anywhere underneath it or even anywhere close. This is a real shame, as I had plans to build myself just something that could get me in and out of the water fairly quickly. That said, you could go ahead and build yourself a bridge over the water, but you're going to need to wait until the water update has dropped, just to, again, make sure it doesn't actually demolish any of your pieces. But for sure, building yourself a small tiny base close to this water's edge, just in case your other base is way deep in the backyard, is not a bad idea. So to get a lot of the resources in the water, we are going to need special equipment. And the first thing that you're going to need to do is you're going to need to kill one of these bugs laying on top of this lily pad. These creatures are striders. When you kill them, you get strider legs. Now obviously I am using the dev cheat world, and so obviously they may have changed appearance, they may have coloured them differently, there could be a whole host of changes, and I somehow think they're not necessarily going to be just laying around waiting nicely for me to chop them up with my spear. But you can see what all the items you can make with the strider leg. Flippers, bone diving knife, the strider skates, the normal diving knife, harpoon gun, and of course all the different harpoon bolts. The first thing we're going to be trying to make is the regular diving knife, as that only needs a pebblet and 2 woven fibre. So you can see I've got my little diving knife now, and this is hopefully where we're going to be going and getting some lily wax. Now you can see you've got the lily membrane, and actually hit it, we get some of the membrane in our inventory, and it does look like these little portions here, these are the lily pad wax. I did think we'd have to go inside the flower, but I don't really think so now. You can see it says a nodule of wax collected from a flowering lily pad can be used as a strong waterproof bonding material. So we're going to need a good amount of lily pad wax. It's pretty much used in every piece that you can see here of the koi armor set, flippers and the rebreather. You can see if you try using like a normal tool or a normal weapon, it will tell you it needs a particular knife. So you are going to have to craft one of these up by killing one of these dudes. You can see you can still use it to attack other creatures too. And despite the lily pads looking like they may break, it doesn't appear that they do. I've hit this over 40 times and it's still standing. It's going to be a bit like the thistle plants where you get your thistle needles. So when we're actually in the water, you can see the oxygen levels going down pretty quickly. So really might not have much chance to go exploring. That's why you're desperately going to need something like a smoothie or some diving gear. Also note, you can use other weapons underwater, but it does seem that the water ones particularly are more designed, as they seem to not lose as much speed when hitting. So in terms of eelgrass, this is pretty much what eelgrass is. So you just go up to it, and in the updated version you'll be able to get chunks of it. At the moment the chunks of eelgrass look like this. You can see there's going to be plenty of eelgrass laying around, so it's going to be something pretty common you're going to be using for building or using. At the moment you can't build on any of these membranes, which is a bit of a shame, but understandable. So once you've got your knife, you get yourself some eelgrass, then you're going to go back to your smoothie station and you're going to make some of the smoothie that's going to give you more breath underwater. So it does look like they've changed the recipe for liquid gills. During the demo phase, when I tested this out, it said you needed plant fibre, eelgrass strand, cloverleaf, but they've now changed the eelgrass strand to water flea. So the water flea could be the creature that we are supposedly not seen before and no one's gained any leaked access to. But by the power of cheats, I do happen to have some here. So let's take a look. 1, 2, 6, 27. So roughly around 27 seconds of breath. That's what you have normally when you're swimming around just without any aids. But once you drink the liquid gill, it'll actually replenish your oxygen. Or if you've only just jumped in, it will give you a small oxygen buff for a few seconds. So the liquid gills don't really at the moment extend or give you any extra in the water, but what they will do is replenish your oxygen. So the idea is that you'd have a couple with you, and as you're going around exploring the underwater sections, if you notice that you are starting to get to the end and you're about to run out of oxygen, you can go ahead and drink one and it'll increase your oxygen. You can see it's run out now and my oxygen is going back down. So we're going to have to kill the water fleas and pick up lots of clover and lots of grass fibre. The other big thing we're going to need a lot of is bones. Now bones are going to be found at the bottom, right deep inside where you get to the underwater laboratory. I've shown you guys a lot of this already, but just to clarify one more time, you can see here there's not much going on. There's no prompts at the moment to gather it. I'm guessing we're going to need something like a tier 2 axe though to grab it, because at the moment it just doesn't let you harvest it or grab them. That's where we're going to get bone from. So it does look like the best bet is to get hold of the Rebreather, which is going to be 4 lily pad wax, 2 sprigs and 4 plant fibres. You'll have to make it obviously at a workbench. It should be fairly... There you go, we've made it. And we can go ahead and equip it. I counted it as 1 minute 40 by using the Rebreather. If you use that in combination with the liquid gills, you could pretty much spend a long time underwater and not have to worry. Now here's one of the other new creatures, the water boatman, which we're going to need a lot of, to craft and make some of the other more important armor pieces. Now these guys at the moment aren't aggroing on me, but I'm sure that will change. They're pretty tough to actually kill, more so just because they move around pretty quickly. But when we do, we get the water boatman fin. So at the moment you need it to make the fin soup, which I'm presuming is going to give you some extra time maybe in the water. But at the moment it just says edible and drinkable, doesn't have any other bonuses. And we need it to make ourselves the flippers. So just 1 water boatman, 2 eelgrass strands, 2 lily pad wax and 1 strider leg. And we got ourselves our flippers. And these are going to allow us to swim a lot faster in the water. And they make a huge difference. You really can feel like you're zooming around much quicker while wearing the flippers. Now another thing to remember is that if you are starting to run out of oxygen, there is going to be these oxygen bubbles. They will replenish your O2. You can see you can fill it all the way up and you'll get a full load of O2. But there does seem to be a few more of the bell spiders lying around. At the moment they only take 1 or 2 hits and they're dead. But you will be able to get the diving bell, spider silk and the spider venom from them. So the flippers are really good and they're definitely going to give you a lot more speed in the water. After that it's all just about upgrades. Things like the diving mask. You'll need the Rebreather that you've already crafted, 2 eelgrass strands and then the Cattail Fluff, 2 of them. Now at the moment the Cattail Fluff seems to be nestled on top of these. Now they're pretty high and they're pretty tough to get hold of by the looks of things. Unless we are going to be just hacking away at these stalks. Or maybe we do need something else. Maybe we need to shoot them off with a bow and arrow. Now luckily I'm using one of the mods, so I'm going to actually just zoom over here. Oh no, I just got rid of my axe. Get back here. So obviously when you get up close to it, you can't actually just gather it. And it doesn't appear to be any prompts at the moment saying that you need a tier 2 tool. But again, this is just an early development build. So my best guess is that you are going to have to maybe shoot them off, or you simply do just hack away at one of these stalks and eventually you will break it and you'll be able to pick up the Cattail Fluff. But I kind of hope it is something like a bow and arrow, as that would be pretty good if you've got to shoot them off. Unless you can find a way to build up here and then collect them that way. So if you're looking for somewhere else to scan your items, then this is probably going to be the one that you'll go to. You can see it's inside the pagoda, but be warned, last few times I've been inside here, there have been some spiders too. So you may need to clear them out to make it safe. So once we've got our Cattail Fluff, we can then make the diving mask. Now it's pretty big when you've got it out like this. I've got a feeling this is just kind of a bit glitchy, and obviously it's not going to be that size when it's there. But at the moment, this is kind of what it looks like. You can see it makes a splashing noise when you hear it, and then you just simply pick it up and you've got it in your inventory. So once you've still got your Rebreather, your 2 eelgrass and your Cattail Fluff, you can go ahead and make the diving mask. So I estimate roughly 115 seconds at the halfway point there. So around 3.5 minutes or so, nearly. That's a long time to be exploring in the water, and it's probably about double what the Rebreather was. So after that, the next upgrade is going to be the koi gear. Interestingly though, the Rebreather does have a different icon next to it when it says Veteran Diver. It's got an old fashioned diving suit head, where the icon for the Veteran Diver pretty much just means your O2 runs out slower, the same as the koi scale helmet. And you get the idea. I will be showing you guys how to do this all much more legit, or at least test running it very quickly in the final build. But that is going to be the basics of getting you started. Flippers by killing one of the Wart Striders and getting a leg, gathering the lily pad wax, the eelgrass strands from the pond, and killing one of the boatmen to get its fin. That's going to give you that extra bit of speed, but obviously the most important thing is getting a Rebreather, which is fairly simple. 4 lily pad wax, 2 sprigs and 4 plant fibre. It could be beneficial to make sure you get some of the potions. Just bear in mind though, at the moment the liquid Gills does look like it needs flea chunks, and so far we haven't seen any flea chunks in the game. So when it comes to actually making some of the other underwater stuff, well, the bone knife is fairly simple. You're just going to need 1 piece of bone, 1 strider leg again, 3 woven fibre and 2 diving bell spider silk. And for the bone trident, again, it's pretty simple to make. Just 3 pieces of bone, 1 sprig and some woven fibre. And the harpoon gun, you're going to need some leech sacks and tadpole slime. So you can see they're pretty much a challenge. So at the moment they're swimming away quite a lot. And again, this is all early. So maybe they've changed and improved the AI. Let's see if we do any better with the tadpoles. So the tadpoles start swimming away the minute you get close to them. You can see the leeches also seem to be hunting the tadpoles. And eventually I did manage to kill one, but it took ages. And eventually we got the tadpole. You see we've got the raw tadpole meat and tadpole slime. You're going to need one of them leech sacks, sprigs, strider legs and the tadpole slime. And it can be used out of water. You can see it's doing a fair amount of damage to this Wart Strider. Now it's got a timer in water that when you press it, it will release automatically. So you may gonna have to time your shots a little bit, or maybe it's something they've fixed. But it's pretty tough to control. You can see it did a fair amount of damage though. And there we go, just about killed it. So yeah, I'm sure that's been worked on quite a lot substantially, as that was pretty derpy using that in the water. Definitely not something you're going to be firing off like a bow and arrow very quickly. It's going to take a bit of skill to get used to using it. So for that, we're going to need lots of strider legs. So killing loads of them to get the ammo for the Harpoon Bolts. Of course, there is some other versions you can get, like the bone ones and the venom ones too, using spider venom, which are obviously going to do a lot more damage. But that's pretty much it for all of the water weapons and armor pieces. Right now anyway, as in top tips. The underwater lantern could be good, but you are going to need that firebug. So are they adding this at the same time, or is the underwater lantern going to be added later on? Say that because we're going to need the bioluminescent goop, which you get from fireflies. And of course, in terms of getting into that underwater laboratory, well, there's a couple different ways you can go. Here next to the dinosaur opening, you should see it's kind of lit up right next to the pagoda. That would definitely be one way. You can see if you're wearing the piece of diving gear I've got here, it should be relatively simple to get into this area. And then from this point, you just got to find the switches to turn them on once we've gone into the laboratory. Now, I have shown this all off in a previous video, but since we're here and since we've been focusing a lot more on what you're going to need and just get you reminders, let's dive into the underwater laboratory quickly. So we're in here now. At the moment, it does say we need oxygen still. So I'm guessing that's just going to be a bug. And actually, when you actually try this for yourself, when the update lands, it will be a lot better. So when you come out, go to the opposite of like the tape measure thing. Should find a doorway. It will take you all the way up to the top. Screen open up here. Now we're presuming you've got to do this all after you've done all the other energy points. And that's it. The shutters will open up. And we're getting some sunlight in. And that's going to power up the lab. So you can see it says power up the 3 breakers. Now there is an analyzer here. So if you need to use anything like that, you can do. And there is a quick way out down this doorway. It will take you pretty much to the surface area. I'm going to go through it anyway, just to show you guys. You can see the dome. But we want to go back down really, because we're trying to open up the breakers. We want to find that little opening here. Then we turn on all the breakers. So breaker 1's just here. Breaker 2. And finally breaker 3. So if there is oxygen in this area, the chances are you may be able to do all of this just by drinking some of the liquid gills. You might not need to bother with all of this diving gear. Pull the power switches again once you get back through, and it should hopefully start restoring power. Maybe it is meant to be gas filled. Maybe it'll only clear the gas once we've got full power. And I guess the last things to show or be prepared for is what's in the net here. Is there going to be something like a scab? Maybe some creatures? And the discman. Are we going to be fighting a boss every time we find one of these? Obviously the broodmother's on the bush in the hedge area. So is there going to be another one? Some of you guys were saying that it could be underneath, but it appears to be just some oxygen bubbles here. So yeah, there could be another boss that we're going to fight just in this location. Last couple of things I guess we've got to address is there may be some more scabs added. There are currently 23 you can get, including one that's bugged. But in the game files, when you use cheats, there's actually 27. And if there is going to be the fireflies in the game, does that then mean we can craft the firefly hat, which acts as a torch? It's got a torch on top of it as well. So hopefully that's going to be in this update if it does go that way. And the koi fish, are they going to be in the game? Are they going to be a boss fight? Is it going to be something we're going to be seeing lots of, or is it only going to be one of them hanging around the frisbee? We just don't know yet. I've got a feeling though, it'll be just one koi fish hanging around that frisbee, and you will be able to get scales from it. You're meant to be able to harvest scales from it when you're using the right tool. And there we go guys, that is what to expect with the water update. I hope that's prepared you and helped you a little bit understand what items, what equipment you're going to need. All subject to change of course, but there we go. As ever, I'm going to give you and deliver the best grounded content going. First, always, and always coming up with original ideas. Make sure you're liking, make sure you're subscribed, and I'll see you for the proper water update, hopefully soon.